Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Athletic Studio podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Kate Oman.
I'm Gordon Jomny Vong.
On today's episode, we talk all things about calories and how they're very individualized, but more so how we can stop comparing our calories to others.
Yeah, so no wonder why, when I was in my early 20s, when I was following some bodybuilder's diet, I wasn't getting big muscles like a bodybuilder.
Exactly. I think we can all relate to the fact that we, can admire someone or look up to someone who's eating either a huge amount or a different amount to us, and we can compare ourselves and think, oh, shivers, should we be eating that much? Or we all know that if we did eat the same thing, we would always still look very different. So it's all about staying in your own lane, and that's what we're going to chat to in today's episode.
Yeah, there's so many celebrities these days. It's all over the news. Your fitness influencer on Instagram, your friend who's going through a fitness program, they're showing you their latest diet that they're on, and you're thinking, maybe I should be on that. Exactly
right. It's really easy to get caught up into, especially we see on social media the what I eat in the day videos, which is great to take inspiration from, but I think we can sometimes take too literally and think, oh wow, this person looks amazing. If I ate like that, I'm going to look like that, which is completely different because, as we know, we're made up of completely a different genetic makeup. So it's about understanding why we have different intakes and different needs as individuals.
Yeah.
Talking to our different genetics, obviously it comes down to a lot of your height, your weight, and also your muscle mass. So for instance, if we compare, say, a fitness influencer, there's one in particular that I'm thinking of, but she's in a comp prep at the moment and she's competing in IWBFF, which is a bodybuilding competition. And she shares her MyFitnessPal what I eat in the days, and her calories are super low. So it's just, say for a regular individual, if they were to look at that and she's eating 1,500 calories a day, if they go to do the exact same thing, they're not going to look the same as her in the end because she's built a lot of muscle mass behind her. So these kind of competitors and everything, they go into a lengthy off season. They've spent about 10 to 12 months in, if not a calorie maintenance period, a calorie surplus, where they're really feeding their metabolism. They're getting to a really healthy point, and they'll look completely different to their show day. They'll probably be, most of them, 10 to 15 kilos up. They'll seem looks like fluffier or higher body fat percentage. So they're putting a lot of work into the metabolism. Whereas a general population person probably is mostly being at maintenance or maybe a slight surplus or deficit without actually thinking about it through their lives. If we compare Gen Pop person to IB fitness influencer, the outcomes are going to be very different. And it's like comparing a pear to an apple. It's very different. It's comparing someone that nourishes or puts on size for 12 months of the year, they'll have a healthier metabolism. They'll be able to cut body fat probably a lot easier. They've had experience in doing so as well. They'll take diet breaks. So that all compounds and relates to it as why they can get so lean. And when they're in that lean position, they probably only stay there for 1 to 2 months and then they're straight back out.
Yeah, definitely. And also a big contributor to why it's going to be different to your nutrition compared to an influencer's nutrition or your friend's nutrition or someone else's nutrition is going to be your training experience, your training intensity, the amount of days that you train as well, so your activity. Not only that, your lifestyle and your stress and your stresses too. Yeah. Sometimes it can actually work to your benefit. So if you train more, then you got to eat more. But if your lifestyle doesn't suit you to have 4 to 5 meals per day and then, eat a lot to be able to build quality muscle or even lose fat by still exercising a lot more, then it's just going to cause you more stress because you can't fit in those meals as well.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of my friends, we joke about it that I'm just constantly eating all the time, but I'm on my feet. I've got a reasonable amount of muscle mass on my body. I've got training experience. My metabolism is super healthy. So I'm able to have a lot more, whereas they may be working in an office, they're relatively sedentary, they do Pilates, so they don't have a huge amount of muscle mass on them. So it's very different lifestyle. So again, we're just not comparing each other's intake. It's not the same. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's say if we do have an executive or a business owner client who they want to look like, they want to get into obviously tip-top ready shape. They've seen the celebrity who's been on Ozempic and lost 50+ kilos doing nothing. they want to, they're seeing the Met Gala photos as well, and they're like, oh, can't wait to my next event. I got to be looking like shit hot like that, like Kim Kardashian.
Oh my God.
See the waistline?
She got her ribs removed.
Yeah,
Oh my
that's
God,
crazy.
that's crazy.
Yeah, but with like, how do they first find out what calories, protein, carbs, and fats, or what type of meals they should be eating based on where they're at?
Yeah, so a good tool is an online calorie calculator where it's a very rough estimate, but I guess close enough is good enough in this scenario. So putting your height, your weight, and your activity level in, it'll spit out a number and it'll tell you your maintenance, a surplus level, or a cutting level. Now, I think a lot of great work is done at maintenance people, but that's where they can start. Now, if you would like to increase some muscle mass, that's when we know we need to fuel our body. So you want to be at least hitting that maintenance calorie intake or slightly above. I'd say 1 to 2 100 calories per day above to stay relatively conservative. If you're wanting to look good for that event, for your Met Gala inspired event, and you want to maybe lose some body fat, then you'd look at that maintenance and take 500 calories a day from that, and that will put you in a deficit. So it's very individual, and everyone, when we calculate their total daily energy expenditure, would be very different. So if I put my numbers in comparison to Gordon's, ours is going to look very different. But the same principles apply. If we want to increase muscle mass, we'll stay to maintenance to slightly increase to a surplus, or if we want to lose body fat, we'll take calories away.
Yeah, and you can't also compare your calories to what the calculator spits out. It's just a guide. You just need to get started with the estimates that they're providing you. Like, one of the most common websites would be, let's say, MyFitnessPal, because you can track your food. It's known worldwide. And let's say you put in your activity, you put it at a 10 to 15% deficit, or you might even start at maintenance. But then what's most important is actually just to track what's happening with your body progress or your weight progress, like after that. If it's going in the right direction, then keep it going.
Yep.
Then if it's not, then it's up to you, or preferably with a coach, to decide what are the next steps to do.
Yeah, 100%. It always a little bit of trial and error, but you'll definitely get there probably a little bit closer or a little bit faster if you do work with a coach, so they can oversee when to pull back or when to push a little bit further.
Yeah. Or if you do want to compare someone's like nutrition to your nutrition, then, you do maybe potentially want to get out a food tracker, and let's say you put in, okay, Kim Kardashian's following this diet. I'm going to work out how many calories this particular nutrition is. And then you might find, well, hey, that's actually there's a big difference compared to what I should be at. So what you can do in that case is that, okay, maybe you can, experiment with the similar food sources that particular person is having, but then change the quantity. So you're playing around with the numbers.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, at the end of the day, I think sticking to your own lane would be of best benefit to you, is you don't want to overshoot or under your calories too much. Keeping as close to what's right for you and what that calculator spits out will probably put you in the best position to make progress.
Yeah. And take into consideration like your preferred food choices or dietary restrictions as well, if you do have certain conditions. So you just got to do what's healthy for you. When it comes to comparing other people's nutrition and their progress or their results, I would probably recommend more look at it from as aspiration as well. Okay, that's great. They're doing this particular thing and they're really motivated. They're really motivated on their nutrition and their training plan. They're getting really great results. That's awesome. Let's find a way to make that happen for myself.
Exactly. Definitely taking inspiration is great. I think if you look at a lot of, back to it, influencers, say meals, they're having, say, just like oats and protein powder for breakfast. Like personally, I wouldn't enjoy that, and I probably couldn't stick to that very well. So it's also finding the balance of pushing yourself but not creating a plan that you actually can't stick to.
Yeah, so most important thing is find out what's important for you, because that's going to help you maintain your nutrition and training for a longer period of time, because it's totally suitable for you instead of someone else.
100%. I think stay in your own lane, be a little guinea pig for yourself, trial and error, find what works for you, and then once you've found that, you'll make incredible results.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that wraps up our episode. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you liked it, please make sure that you are following the Athletic Studio podcast and also follow us over on Instagram.
Thanks, guys.
If you found this episode useful, it would mean the world to us if you shared, rated, and liked this podcast. It's how we keep it alive.
Also, be sure to follow us on Instagram at Athletic Studio. We would love to connect with you and see how your fitness and health improves with this newfound knowledge. Until next time.